Hey, buds. Welcome to the Fantasy Buds podcast. It's your host, Brian Gold.
Mark Letrio.
And I'm Tim Stewart.
And if you want to follow us on social media, you can go to the link tree in the description below and follow us on Threads, TikTok, and Instagram. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the show. Welcome back, everybody, to the Fantasy Buds podcast. It's your host, Brian Gold.
Mark Letrio.
And Tim Stewart.
And just so you all know, this puppy right here is mine because I won it this year.
Yeah, why don't we
why don't we touch on that first, because it's been a while. It's our first episode back. It is July 18th, 2023. We are in 2023, not dead.
Yeah,
breathing.
actually, we've made it out of high school now for 7 years without dying.
Yep.
Isn't that impressive? Everyone, nobody's dead, and only one kid.
Yeah.
Only one kid.
Only one kid, and it was planned.
Craziness.
That is impressive.
That is impressive. But anyway, that was really fucking great, Mark.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
So morbid to start off my fucking morning.
Yeah, to start off the morning with the Brian Gold fifth championship in 5 years.
Oh, I'm running out of fingers, honestly. You guys need to step it up a little.
Well, part of the reason why we're so bad at fantasy football is because we so if you watched our show last year, and thank you so much if you did watch our show last year, if you found our show last year,
All 5 of you.
Yes, all 10 of you were probably like, but these guys have no fucking idea what they're talking about.
And we don't.
And I was gonna say, you know what I have to say to that? I completely 100% agree with you. So we're gonna go through our rankings from last year, and we are gonna fucking make fun of ourselves, basically.
Honestly, I'm just going to start off right off the bat. As an Eagles fan, I know we all had A.J. Brown off the board this year. Those came out of my those words came out of my mouth.
Last year, yeah. We all hated him.
And with having him off the board, thinking the second round and third round ADP was too high for him, too expensive for him. Let me rattle off some Pro Football Focus stats for him. He finishes with the second highest receiving grade in his career with 89.2, and he was the 5th overall receiver in fantasy. Second round, third round, too expensive. Great fucking ranking. I had him just off the board. Like, I didn't even have him in the top 15.
In my top 15, he was 13. And like
that's, what were we doing?
Did you even have him on your list, Tim?
Nope.
I was I had guys like Michael Pittman.
I had
right
Michael
ahead of him.
Higher than him.
Debo Samuel.
Yep.
Keenan Allen. Like Mike Evans. Like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, what was
Allen Robinson ahead of him.
Oh God.
Yeah. Oh God.
You had Allen?
Oh.
Allen Robinson ahead of him at 13. Yep.
Oh man.
Oh man. So
Wide
AJ Brown,
twos.
he finishes with 137 targets. That was 11th. 88 receptions. That was also 11th. 1,496, because I was just going to say that completely fucking wrong. That was 4th in the league. And then he had 11 receiving touchdowns. That was 2nd. And this was all predicated on whether Jalen Hurts would take that big jump.
Which
Did.
He
You
took
know,
that big jump.
if you watch football last year, you saw that he did.
You would know Jalen Hurts' name.
But
I fucking hammered that down. I hammered that in last offseason. So I will plant my flag on that one. As one of my wins and one of my only wins in 2022 in terms of fantasy football takes.
that was an Eagle that we were all pretty high on, but Brian especially. It was like, I mean, to me, I thought the quarterback one was crazy, but I mean, hey.
Well, he had to take that huge jump as a passer.
And he did.
And he did. But he also could have sucked.
Definitely
Could have really sunk our season, but he didn't, because he's the man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, another guy I know all three of us were down on too was Tyreek Hill also, and why. I could probably meet God and ask him why, and he probably still would not be able to tell you why.
Where did you
where
did you guys have him?
I had him at number 11.
14.
Not even in my top 10.
Why'd you have him at 14?
Because I thought Debo Samuel would do better. Brandon Cooks is Brandon Cooks. Like, he's good old reliable. He's
Did
not
you
going
have
to do
Brandon
great.
Cooks?
Yeah, I had Brandon Cooks at 12. And then I had Al
Holy
Robinson and Tyreek
moly.
Hill. The reason I
Holy
had Hill,
fuck.
the reason I had Hill at 14 is because I didn't trust Tua. That's why.
I didn't trust Tua either.
And I guess
Me
it
neither.
gets to the point to where I think we got to stop blaming wide receivers, like the quarterbacks being the reason that they're good.
yeah, if they're good, they're
If
good.
they're good, they're good. Like,
They're gonna get it done.
Because even we shit on Tua like so much in last offseason. He had a league leading, like it was league leader in 40-yard touchdowns and 50-yard touchdowns. Now it does help having
The two fastest
receivers in the
He's
entire league.
Still gotta make the throws.
Still got to just got to make the throws, Mark.
You know, like as the quarterback, you are supposed to like
You-
pass
you
the
should.
ball.
the
You
quarterback just has to be the quarterback.
So
That's-
you know,
yeah,
you
quarterback
are
just
supposed
has to
to
be-
make the throw down
Play
the
his
field.
fucking game that he's getting paid to do. But he got it there. He got the ball there. I had him at 11 also. He ended up finishing at number 2,
He was second,
of course.
and
Crazy.
his teammate Jalen Waddle, who was not even on my list,
Yep.
was the wide receiver 8 last year.
I didn't even have Waddle like near the top 15, I don't think.
He was off my board.
Because I was
Waddle,
like,
I want nothing to do with him.
it was the same argument. I was like, how is Tua and Jalen Hurts? How are they going to support 2 wide
Yeah.
receivers? They're not great passers. Like only one of these guys can prosper. And that's just not true anymore.
no,
Especially in
it's a
today's
passing
NFL.
league. It's a passing league. All these running backs, which don't worry, we'll get to
Yeah. Well, Tyreek Hill,
they suck.
I'm just
he had
looking
167 targets.
I mean,
just
and that's
looking-
insanity.
I'm just looking at this list, and it's just nothing but pain.
That's every
It's
year for you.
all it is. Like,
Because, Michael Thomas at number 3.
Yeah, I still don't.
when he was
understand.
healthy, he was on pace to
I
finish
know.
top 3, and then he died.
I think you were just trying to
Again.
be cute.
No, I actually seriously thought if he stayed healthy, he would be top 3.
I think you should get checked.
We're all
I
getting,
was right.
We
we're
all should be checked,
fucking-
though.
We all need to get checked. We're all being fucking too cute. I had Debo Samuel ahead of Tyreek Hill. I had Keenan
Yep.
Allen, fucking 55-year-old Keenan
Yeah,
Allen.
I had Keenan Allen too.
ahead of Tyreek Hill. I had boring ass 60 catches, 1,000 yard, 5 touchdown Mike Evans ahead of
Mike Evans was even on my list.
ahead of,
People talk about him as a Hall of Famer, and I get it. He puts the fucking numbers up and everything, but he gets like 1,000. It's like, oh, he cracks 1,000 every year. He's got 17 games to do it. Number one,
Yeah.
and when he gets 1,000, it's like 1,005 yards.
he's
Like,
the
it's
model
not-
of consistency.
model of consistency. I will give him that. He's very consistent. He gives you numbers. He's always out there, but he's not a fucking superstar. He's not a star at all, really.
It's another guy that was way too high on my list was Mike Evans.
I had him at 5.
I had 7.
I didn't even have him on mine.
Good. You know what?
I mean, like
So
good,
far, Tim has
honestly.
been more
Good.
right than us
Yeah, good.
throughout the rankings. Like you had Jonathan Taylor outside the top 5, right?
And he was
Or you
right.
had
Yeah,
him at
no,
5,
I had him at 5.
which I thought was fucking bonkers because I had him at 2 or 1.
I
No,
had
I had
1.
CMC at 1, but I
I
had,
had
Jonathan
CMC
Taylor.
at 1 too on my running back
Jonathan
list.
Taylor at 2.
Yeah.
But how is that going to?
He did have some injuries.
yeah, way to plant our flag on.
That's what I'm
fucking
saying.
CMC.
Like, I'm just looking back at this list, and I'm sitting here like, what the fuck was going through my head?
I
making
think we were
this
just
list?
trying to be too cute.
Like, it's fine. Justin Jefferson at 1. Well, yeah. I mean, sky's blue. Same with Cooper Kupp at 2. Like, you knew
like,
one of
great.
the yeah. After that, it's just dog water.
It's like pick a name out of a hat and
Like-
be like, have him at 7.
My top 6 was pretty good. I had Jefferson, Chase, Diggs, Devontae Adams, and CeeDee Lamb. But Cooper Kupp was one. Obviously, he had the injury.
Yeah.
So, but he was gonna finish. He was gonna pay off his price again.
I had Jefferson
If
at
he-
1, Kupp at 2, he who shall not be named at 3, Stephon Diggs, Chase at 5, sorry, and then Keenan Allen at 6.
Chase actually finished as the wide receiver 11.
Yeah.
And T. Higgins, who was also on my list last year, finishes the wide receiver 18. But I mean, I'm on Ross St. Brown. He wasn't even on my list.
I'm
I
glad
had
you
him at
guys came
15.
around to what I was saying about fucking T. Higgins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of get it now. I still think Chase is the better player, but
He is.
it's not like
Did he have 100 receptions last year?
Who?
Higgins? Did he break that mark?
No, I don't think either one
Do
of
I
them
look like
did.
his fucking
Targets.
agent or something?
Well, you're the fucking T. Higgins enthusiast,
Yeah,
so I figured
I know.
you would know.
Actually,
Higgins.
I don't
think
think he. No. I think he had like
I think he came close, like 80 or something.
80 to 90.
Brian loves T. Higgins.
I do.
I
Because
had
I
him, and I
drafted
don't know
him in
this.
Dynasty, and he's just my little baby. I watch him grow up. I
That is
remember.
nice.
I remember feeding him formula.
Yeah, that is nice to watch your dynasty players grow up.
It
The
is.
ones you
They're-
drafted.
They're like your children,
They are.
and you just can't let them go. But there's one receiver I wanted to let go, Michael Pittman. I had him at
fuck him.
number 7,
8.
7 and 8.
7.
You had him at 7. Like we should cancel this fucking
Oh,
show.
no, I'm sorry. 8. I'm stupid. I can't read that.
You had 8.
8.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adams, I had at 7. Yeah.
Great.
Really?
Fucking awesome.
I know because we just got the headphones for the first time today, and it's just so weird
You can just hear
because I hear every
everything.
part of Tim's mouth
Brutal.
and Mark's mouth
yeah,
and my
just-
mouth, and I want to like
These fuckers are
I want to
like,
burn down this house
yeah.
right now.
I mean,
honestly.
like, they're both right here.
We now understand what you have to go through, Chris. We get it.
yeah, this is horrible.
Yeah, I don't know how Chris doesn't go insane.
because I
I
dislike
don't know.
both you a lot more now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's just
It's getting out
But-
there.
somehow more than I already did.
Let's get back to Michael Pitt. He finished at number 20. Having him that high, he finished at number 20. And we had decent arguments for him. It was Matt Ryan's there and he's gonna pepper him with targets. He was 90th percentile in reception, and you name it. He was the number 1 target. He plays in the AFC South, whatever argument. But however, the results were not what we were fucking looking for. He was 7th in targets and he had 139. He was 8th in receptions actually, but however, what came after that is what was very disappointing. The yardage was 24 with 925. And he was 32nd in touchdowns with 4. This was not a high scoring offense. The Colts were fucking terrible. I thought their offensive line was going to be a lot better, and it just ended up not panning out.
the Colts kind of just had a disaster year.
See, that's why I don't
last
know if I
year.
can blame it fully on him, though, like being bad. Because to be fair, Matt Ryan's favorite target last year was the other team. So, like, can't
he
really
also-
blame him.
Do you remember like just the Denver game and it was just sack, sack, sack.
Every game Denver
Fumble.
played in last year was like the dirtiest, grimiest
Yeah.
fucking game.
It was. I gotta look at their offensive line.
So I was since we're on Denver, I want to bring up real quick another
even say
guy
his name.
we all loved way too much and value way too highly. Cortland Sutton. Like I know
That was
like I know me and Brian especially like have been really on this dude for at least the past few. I mean, like I even invested in him in Dynasty and I was really high on this guy. I really thought he could be like a great receiver. I thought he had all the tools to do it. He just really never put it together.
No, he wasn't even on my list.
Kind of like he was 15th on my
He didn't make it on mine.
in my top 50. Finishes the wide receiver 43.
I feel like sometimes this is
Dog shit.
that's what he finished.
The wide receiver 43.
He was
where'd you have
that
him?
bad?
15.
Get off the show.
Dog
dude.
shit. Yeah, I mean, I don't even deserve to have a fucking podcast.
Just leave.
Looking at my list.
Just leave.
Just take off the headphones, leave.
Some of this, like,
Our
Me and Brian
fucking
can do it
three-
ourselves.
Our fucking 3 listeners can
yeah,
do better without you.
it's ridiculous.
But-
Portland Sutton.
Dude, Cortland Sutton, I just feel like we don't factor in that a player has hit their ceiling, possibly. We're like, well, they had this, so they could go to that. Well, what if this is
Yeah.
all that they fucking do? Like, their argument's always like regression, positive regression. And it's like,
He also came off of an ACL injury, right? He
Yeah.
tore his ACL at that young.
yeah,
Some
Yeah,
some guys that happens to, and they're never the same when they come back.
Carson
Like,
Wentz.
yeah.
Yeah, that is
Who-
true.
We were like, Matt Ryan is such a massive upgrade over Carson Wentz in Indianapolis.
He really
4,
was
12 and 1.
Yeah, he really like everything we said just was fucking awful. It's just aged like milk. Every single little thing.
The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
I know none of you had Amari Cooper on your lists.
No.
Wide receiver 10.
Like,
Yeah, no.
I didn't even think about him.
Me neither. I mean, he was left for dead in our draft. In our Big B scooped him. We all were left. We're like, Big B, you fucking pussy, you suck. For
Yeah,
for
he is
taking
a pussy,
Amari
though.
Cooper. Yeah. And Tyler Lockett, who was not on my list either, who was the wide receiver 13 last year.
He finished that high?
Yeah.
I feel like
Tyler Lockett's good every year and nobody cares about him.
the old reliable
Including us.
guys that always get it done, we just fucking forget about them because they're not sexy. It's not a sexy pick.
Do we?
It's like an offensive line in the fucking what? Would you say?
Do we? We just forget about him every
Yeah.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, because we have to bump them down to put guys
your
like
hat.
Michael Thomas in there. And Devontae
Again.
Smith. We made fun of Tim for Devontae Smith. Tim had Devontae Smith in his top like 12 last year, and we kind
know.
of bashed him
See,
for it.
you guys give me shit, but from what I'm seeing is I have more times being right on these lists
Yeah.
than you guys do so far.
Smith actually finishes the 9th best receiver.
Tim had Justin Jefferson as the number one receiver.
did finish
and
as
he
number
finished as the number one receiver. Jonathan Taylor was outside the top 3.
He was outside the top
And
30.
he finished outside the top 30. We're just fucking terrible.
I mean, maybe we should start listening to Tim
I think
more.
I think you just have sometimes like really bad takes.
It's only when
And
it comes
It
to
all
wide
sounds the good
receivers.
ones.
Yeah.
just like you'll have like one or two really fucking awful takes, and it'll just put a cloud over the rest of your genius.
Going off of what you said, though, before we started recording, I agree with the Antonio Brown statement of Justin Jefferson, where I think he's going to be the number 1, number 2 wide receiver every single season.
Take him first,
Like 100%.
This
Not
guy
gonna be
should go with the
disappointed.
first pick until he retires, dies,
or
switches sports,
or gets hit in the head, and
Yeah,
then
like,
starts
just something
like flashing his cock in public pools.
just like Antonio Brown.
Is it also
yeah.
now that like the three of us are officially on the board of don't take a running back in the first round?
I'm
Like we're
Depends on
all
what
at
you
that
pick.
point.
So we did a whole fucking episode, like we were some big shots about you can never do running backs again. Like that's not
Running
true.
backs don't matter.
They do matter, but like
Now with the top like 5 pick.
get the upper echelon receiver in the
Yeah.
first round, and then you get the middle running backs. Like we were off on Josh Jacobs and Miles Sanders because they weren't sexy. They were in the middle
Oh,
rounds.
I hated Josh Jacobs.
I hated
fucking-
Sanders.
He was off
He
my.
was-
I would not have taken him in the 12th round if he was.
So-
I hated Josh Jacobs.
So since we're talking about Josh Jacobs, I had him off my board completely.
Me too.
And for a player who I hated, shut me the fuck up with a league leading
Yep.
1,653 rushing yards, followed by 12 touchdowns, followed by the second most carries in the league with a 4.9 yards a carry, and had a rushing grade of 91.9. Had 8 running back 1 finishes, had 5 100-yard games, and wrap it all up, he is the running back 3, and he's off my board.
Did you study for this today?
Huh?
Did you study for this test today?
I mean, I don't know what this is, but
That was
There's
That
information
was really
on it.
nice.
Yeah, what's really
That
great-
was actually really
what's
impressive.
really
Thank
great-
you.
You just kept throwing more and more at me.
The best part of those
Like-
8 RB1 finishes, I'm pretty sure about 3 of them happened against me last year.
Oh my God.
Played
have-
Joe twice, got 40
No,
dropped
it's
on
like,
me
Joe,
both times.
fuck you,
Like,
Joe. I know you're listening, Joe. Fuck you, Joe. Joe's always the one with these like fucking Jamal Williams and Josh Jacobs. He always has these annoying players too. And they fucking like Jamal Williams also. He was the running back 13 off my board. I wanted nothing to do. Did you even draft Jamal Williams in your league? The 6 people listening, like, did you draft him? Like,
No,
would you
nobody-
even have picked
nobody
him?
drafted him.
Like why would you even have him ranked in
They
your
took
top
a
15?
flyer.
Like the running back 13. Fuck running backs.
that's what I'm saying.
Fuck
We're talking
that.
about the number 1 running back for 8 weeks was the dude where 3 years ago when Dean had to draft him, he wanted to jump off his roof.
I know. No, I will never forget
that was
that.
so
we
funny.
were at his house drafting, and it was like our 9th draft doing it together. And we were at his place, and it was the 4th or 5th round. This is a 14 team.
I think it was the 5th round.
And his next pick is up, and he looks over at me, and he just goes, "Do I really have to draft Josh Jacobs right now?" Like just the disappointed.
The
The
best part
disgust
was
on his
before
face.
it, as the players were going.
He's like, I
you
can't.
saw him getting more and more and more depressed.
I saw
and
him
he
getting
looked at
so
Mark.
uncomfortable.
He looked at Mark and he goes, I'm really going to have to draft Josh fucking Jacobs.
He was sitting
like-
next. Dean, we love you.
Shit my pants. I love that man.
We love you,
man.
Dean. Congratulations. Dean is our friend who's a dad, by the way.
Yeah.
And his son's gonna enter our league one day, and he's just gonna probably be better than all of us.
Look,
it's gonna be better than him.
Look, with how bad my list is, and especially with how bad my running back list, it's somehow worse than my receiver list. No wonder why I haven't won in 10 years.
I mean,
like I'm really
Yeah,
bad
my
at
running
this.
back list is
So,
I mean, like I'm just not good at this.
I know I had Dalvin Cook. I want to talk about Dalvin Cook real quick. I had him at number 3.
6 for me.
9.
Wow. He finished at 10th, so Tim was, you know what? Draft wizard. He's like the app.
Take
like
the
he's
wheel,
the actual
Tim.
app.
Just take the wheel, Tim.
So I thought he had a very disappointing year because I had enough shares of him. He only had 2 100-yard games. And from where I had him at number 3, that's way too inconsistent. He's a first-round player and only had 4 running back 1 finishes in over a 15, 16 game span.
Yep.
And he didn't finish all those games either. That was the disappointing part. He would start a game, he would play maybe a half, and then he would leave with injury, whether it was something with his foot, vagina, or, you know, one of those things. And he
Vaginal
only cracked
tweak.
20 points 3 times all year.
Yeah.
For a first round pick.
For a first-round pick and a guy that I had behind Jonathan Taylor and CMC last offseason, that is...
And to be honest, some leagues I saw him going as high as 2 last year. Like in some mock drafts, especially that I did.
Because people fucking...
I mean, look, like the Kevin O'Connell, everybody got a massive boner over the passing. Unfortunately, all the
That's what
passing
it
went
always
to
is.
Justin
It's
Jefferson.
passing targets.
Uh,
And Alexander Madison just for some reason he's going to be great this year, by the way. We'll touch on that on another episode, but
we'll get into our rankings for
plant
next
some
year.
seeds
This year.
for that.
But yeah, Dalvin Cook was very mid.
He was
I would say he was mid. He was fine.
I
Like
feel like he's been mid for a long time now
ever
in
since
terms of fantasy.
the 2 years ago when he finished as the RB1, or 3 years ago now was that
That was
2019 when he finishes the RB1? No, 2020.
2020.
Because that was the year I
Yeah.
played you.
Yeah.
Because I had so
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it any more than that.
Mark
I had
gets
CM.
the shakes whenever he talks
I
about
had
that.
CMC second. He actually finished second. So that's great work, me. Predicting Christian McCaffrey's finish.
I know, like
Fucking real awesome. Like
it's like, oh, Pat Mahomes is going to finish top 5.
I
Travis
mean, real
Kelce.
great.
I'm going to predict that Travis Kelce's going to finish number 1 this year. Like, yeah.
My fucking grandma
Great.
could have said that.
Like, find a fucking podcast that
My
didn't
yeah.
predict that. Like,
My grandma probably thinks Ron Jaworski's the quarterback still, and she probably would predict that.
Yeah, it's CMC at 1.
also, I know we had a like a little bet going on. Not a bet, but argument between Darren Waller and George Kittle. And Darren Waller, I was so
Fuck him. Darren Waller.
fuck him.
I wanted nothing to do with that motherfucker. The whole...
I mean,
That was one guy I was off that I was right about.
I was so high on him, and I was so convinced that he was going to get it done. And he had 42 targets, which was 31st, 28 receptions, which was 34th, 388 yards, which was 27, and 3 touchdowns, and a receiving grade of 74.5.
Did miss a lot of games.
Please tell us, where did George Kittle finish?
Higher.
How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian was a big
Crazy.
Darren
Feeling great
Waller.
over there?
Loving it right now.
Yeah.
Brian was a big Darren Waller truther. If
I was, and he fucking let me down.
I
Now,
could have told you that was going to happen.
just and I'm talking about him because I was just so high on him, and he only gave me 9 games total.
Yeah, he
in the
did miss a lot of games. So,
That's
like,
true.
to be honest, I actually like Darren Waller for the job. And we will talk about this in another episode, obviously. But, like, his situation kind of was shitty. Like being unbiased. Like, the Raiders just got Devontae Adams. He got all the targets.
Yeah,
Basically,
he
he got
had like
peppered.
160 targets.
I also want to say real quick, I was watching a couple
Raise
of
your
our
hand.
episodes
Like
last
you're-
night.
like you're in a
Mr.
classroom.
Doms, Chris.
Mr. Dom's Chris.
So I was rewatching one of our old episodes last night, and we were actually talking about Devontae Adams, and we're talking about Derek Carr and how he was basically due for regression with it.
Yeah.
We said I said in particular, there's no chance he finishes with 100 catches, 1,500 yards, and 12 touchdowns. Yeah, well, he actually finished with more than 12 touchdowns, and he actually did finish with that amount of yards. He didn't hit the catches, but yeah, I mean, he did it. So.
See,
Yeah,
it comes back to the
Great take. I mean, really on the ball with that
It comes
one.
back to the we're blaming the quarterback when literally sometimes all they had to do was fuck it. That wide receiver's down there
Yeah.
somewhere and
He
just
gets it
chuck
done.
it and hope.
Devontae Adams is legit, and I'm sure he'll get it done again with Jimmy Garoppolo as his quarterback.
Like, I feel like
I think he's gonna do
we
better.
focus too
He
much
might.
on the quarterback, and it's just like real life today. People focus a little too much on that. When a player is great, they're great.
Yeah.
Like we were like, oh, I don't think like Tua is a massive downgrade from Mahomes, and it's like, I mean, yeah,
Tyreek Hill arguably had his best year.
but Tyreek Hill's the fastest player in the NFL, and it's
Nope.
like sometimes you gotta also kind of follow the money. Like if a team's gonna give a receiver the bag, they're gonna go to their coaches and be like, make sure you scheme him open,
Yeah,
give him the ball because
100%.
he's my money is going into his pocket, please. Like Devontae Adams got the fucking bag. Like, and we thought he wasn't going to get 150 targets.
Yeah, come on. Barring injury. Like,
Barring injury. Barring injury.
didn't mean to go back to the receivers, but that reminded me of another horrible take I had.
Which one was that
Last
out
year.
of the many?
Yeah, no, like the one I just said, but there's no chance
Are you,
Devontae
like,
Adams
are you like paying attention?
replicates those stats.
I'm like, I have three voices in my head right now. I am paying attention though.
We're almost paying too much attention to each other.
I also am holding in this fart, and it's
At this point, you
It's
might as
getting
well
painful.
just let it go at this point. Sorry for the 7 people out there.
you know what? They can't smell it.
So the RB1 last year was Austin Eckler. I had him ranked at 4. I would say that was pretty consensus. We all had Austin Eckler.
I had him at 6.
Like
I had him
fairly
at
high.
4 too.
I would say we all had him ranked pretty. I mean, RB1, we didn't expect that, but
Not
I mean, like
back-to-back.
close to it at least. But like,
Well, the thing was, he would have been at back-to-back years, and I think we were all
Yeah.
kind of like, "There's no way." Teams know what they're going to expect. Like,
Like he was the RB2 the year before, and I was
Yeah.
like, I don't think he's gonna be higher than that. And he was.
people were down on him, and once again, it's because you said people want to talk about regression all the
Yep.
time, positive regression, negative regression. I mean, like Eckler's just a fucking good player. Like it's just what a guy.
Yeah, like can we just like
but he's great. He's a great player. He's
was
gonna
the-
get it done.
who was the RB3? You said CMC
Josh
was 2, right?
Jacobs.
Jacobs
And
was
then
3.
4 was actually Derrick Henry, who I had at 3
I had a 2.
last year.
he finished it?
He did. He was the running back 4 last year. Derrick Henry,
I feel like it was worse.
who
I thought he was.
I also thought he was worse until
Was
I
he-
looked
wasn't he
into
hurt?
it. I
Or was that the year before?
no, that was the year before when Dave had him.
Oh yeah, that's
Remember, because
I'm just a
Dave,
bad fantasy analyst. If
Oh,
I'm
it's
going to
okay.
call myself one.
we're all none of us deserve a podcast.
No, but we're doing it, right?
I mean,
I want to see what.
I guess
No, I'm not
that's
going to
more
talk
than-
about who I had at 4.
All right, I guess we're not.
Who'd you have,
fucking-
Najee Harris? Because I had him at 5.
Yup.
Wow.
You had him at 5. I was really down. I had him outside my top 10
You were the only
I think.
one
You got
where
it right.
you were totally just off him the whole time.
because he just has
like-
no explosion at all.
None.
He's not a home run hitter.
He has no upside, and I didn't want to believe that.
Like the offensive line stunk, quarterback stunk, receiving core stunk,
Team stunk.
stunk.
Well, I think that's the thing of the receiving core being terrible was because he had like 74 catches his rookie year.
To be
And
honest, I
everybody
think
was
that
like,
was inflated
"Whoa."
though.
It
Like
was the same thing that happened with Dalvin Cook. At least Dalvin Cook has the explosiveness to break off big
Yeah.
runs.
like
Because you
Najee.
had. Sorry.
No. I'm sorry. Najee had 14 catches in one game that year.
Yeah.
14 of them came in one game, and I think about 9 or 10 of them came in another game. I can't remember
So he had,
exactly.
like-
so that was what, like 20 some. How many catches did you just say he had? 70
He had
something?
74 his
So
rookie
that was
year.
what about? I almost failed math. What's that, about 30%
That's
of his
about a
catches
third
in 2
of
games?
his.
Yeah.
In 2 games?
Yeah.
He's never
You
going to
big
get that
math
again.
major, you.
No, trust me. I'm far from that. I almost failed geometry in high school.
You pussy.
I'm looking at the
fuck up,
notes.
dude.
I'm looking at the notes I had for Jonathan
Fucking
Taylor last
douchebag.
year and like why I thought he was going to fall. And I wrote down that because of Hines is getting a larger workload and
Oh,
the addition
God.
of Mr. Steal your carries because they got Philip Lindsay for no reason. Forgot about that.
Tim, the way you like describe things is just so funny.
Dude, it's what Philip Lindsay does. He's terrible, but he just gets carries. It makes no sense.
That's fucking
And where's he at now?
Jamal Williams.
Playing in China or something?
Dog water, knee
Yeah,
how.
where is Philip Lindsay?
No idea.
He's done, right?
Oh, no. He's
yeah,
in,
he's
what
done.
you call it? He's in the XFL.
Oh,
He's
Already?
on one of those teams. Yeah.
he did sign in the XFL.
Yeah, he signed in the
didn't he?
XFL. I'm pretty sure.
So Najee finished as the RB14. If you took him in your league last year, you knew he was just the pinnacle of mid. Basically, like he never really gave you any. Like he had probably one game, over 15 points the whole year.
Yeah.
I think
I
so.
think,
Yeah,
like,
it was bad.
pretty much
I was
every
completely off him.
every game was like 20 carries, 70 yards, no touchdowns, one catch.
Where did Nick Chubb finish?
Nick Chubb was the RB6.
6. Okay.
Last-
I had him
Which
at
is a
3.
massive drop off. He was the RB1 for 10 weeks.
Yeah, and to be honest, a lot of it was because he was just scoring like fucking crazy. Like,
Well, some of that, Deshaun Watson came back too.
yeah,
Dog water.
somehow they looked
Dog
worse.
water, but that's what I'm saying. Like he looked worse with it.
So, somehow they looked worse when he came back.
So, yeah, he did.
I had Nick Chubb at 9 on my list, by the way,
Nick Chubb at 9.
last year.
Because I think I deleted my fucking list because it was so terrible.
Yeah, but I
Nice
had to
job.
go digging for
I
mine
had
to
to go
find
digging.
him.
But yeah, I did have Nick Chubb. I think I'm pretty sure I had him at 9 also. He's just kind of one of those. No, I think I had him at like 11 or 12, like just outside the top 10.
You just kind of know what he's going to give you.
You just kind of know it. He's one of the best pure runners in the NFL.
Oh, he's based off pure talent. He might be the best running back.
I'm
I
actually
think so.
Just
I'm actually
based off pure runner.
really high on him this year in fantasy. Like really, really high on him.
Are you?
Well, now
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt's gone, so
Yeah. Well, I think
And they
so,
said
too.
that they plan on using him more in the passing game.
I mean, like,
So
if
I'm
that's
very,
true,
very high on him.
Let's hope that they actually fucking do
Yeah,
it.
if that's not just coach speak, then that could be an RB1 waiting to happen. But I was gonna say, we'll talk about that.
He's
We'll-
already
we'll
an
talk about
RB1,
that.
so if his
Yeah.
passing goes up, honestly, he's one of those guys where it's like if I take a receiver in the first round, I'm okay. I'd be satisfied with him as my RB1.
Oh, Nick Chubb. Yeah, don't,
No,
I have a
the
chubby.
other one.
And I have a chubby for Nick Chubb
Nick
this
Chubby.
year. Nick Chubby.
So
Who'd you have? Where did you have Javonte Williams? I had him at 8
8.
I had him at 6.
because we were all very, very high on
Well,
him.
to be fair, it wasn't starting off great, but he did get hurt like in October.
Yeah.
He had a season. He had a season-ending like knee injury with his. I'm pretty sure it was both ACL and LCL.
Which is
which-
sad.
very sad.
That
Very
sucks.
young player, and I hope he can come back and be better than what he. I just hope he can come back and he can be relevant. But
I had him at 8.
here come the dogs. I guess that's our cue to fucking wrap this up. Anyway, thanks for listening to the podcast, everybody. Hey, babies.
Hi.
Hello.
They are attacking Tim now.
There.
All right, y'all. We are out. We'll catch you at the next episode.
Your takes suck. Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.